All right, so Coach, you had a very good weekend or week against Florida State, got two consecutive sweeps. Before we get to that second match specifically, what about the team's performance overall through those two contests?
Yeah, felt like we were very consistent. I think that that was some of the things that with those back-to-back matches, it's really, really important. Not to let down or let your guard down or really take it easy on some points. And so I felt like we played six pretty good sets consistently, which that was great to see.
Mariana Brambilla had a very strong performance in that second game or second match, a double double. Going over the match and seeing some of it, it seemed like she eliminated a lot of rallies for Florida State. She had a big kill in the second set. They were making a little bit run in the third set, and she got the final kill in the match. Has she become kind of the go-to player in some of those situations to eliminate other teams' rallies and to get some crucial points for you?
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely somebody we trust, that it's going to, finish place for us. And I think, again, I think all three of our pins, Michaela, Julia, Mari, have, kind of rotated that role. I thought Julia had that role in the first match. Michaela, one of our first matches against Miami, she played a big role like that. And so I think that it's great for them to have each other and for our team to, have had such great, consistent quality players in those positions. It's definitely help. It's and Matt as well. McKissock just finding the hot hand. It's who does she want to go to in those situations, and I know that she trusts anybody on our team to handle that. And Mari was just having a great game, and so she made the right choice to give her the ball.
You mentioned the McKissock. She had a game high or match high 40 assists. You mentioned in post match presser the importance of distribution. Elaborate
Yes.
on that and how big that is for your offense. And you mentioned also the balanced offense. So those kind of come together, the distribution and balanced offense.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that we always strive for. We feel like we have very high level attackers on our team with our middles and our pins. And, just in situations, what we want to do, we definitely want to get our middles involved in the offense and making sure that that the defense on the other side is thinking about them, and that's creating better looks for everybody else around them as well. Um, so it is really important, I think, that to play at a high level and to be our best. It's always nice to have balance and to kind of distribute that heavy load instead of being with only one player and people knowing what to expect. I think that is the strength of our offense, is that we're scoring points for very many different areas on the court, and that makes it hard on the defense on the other side.
The October 8th match, you held them to 18% in hitting. What about the defensive effort and holding them to such a low percentage through three sets?
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that playing a 6-2, they always have three hitters front row, and they're a big physical team, and so I think serving was one of our strengths against them these two matches, because we were able to really make them uncomfortable and put them out of system and kind of eliminate some options there offensively for them, and with that, be able to execute better on our side defensively. So just a good combination starting from the service line that kind of allowed us to, make plays and kind of trickle down to different levels of defense, that, really made Florida State not be able to do a lot of the things that are their strength. And so we really put them in an uncomfortable position. And that started with our serving.
At this point of the season, you mentioned post match against Florida State, and then we'll move on to Wake Forest coming up next few days. Consistency was a big theme for you as well. Is the team getting closer to that level of consistency that you want to see from them at this portion of the year?
For sure. I think that the more we play, we felt, it looked way more comfortable on the court against Florida State than it did against Miami. So definitely you can see their growth, and just, you just get a little more comfortable with match and the kind of focus and execution that you need to have to win points at this level. And so consistency is definitely something that we we hammer on all the time, but it starts with what they're doing in practice. I think that we have had couple days, good days in practice leading into that Florida State match. And I think the same thing has happened after the match and the past few practices we have had over the weekend. As they are understanding the value of that and just understanding that, there's not just a switch that you flick on and off and it's like, oh, hey, it's match time. It's in match time, you're going to default to your training, and you're going to kind of default to the habits that you're creating on a daily basis. So when we say it, we talk a lot about consistency. We don't just mention, just win every game and that's consistent. Is what is the approach every time that you're about to get on the volleyball court and get better and grow and learn and compete, and being consistent with those habits is one of the things that, we're learning more and more, and we're able to do kind of stack days after day more and more often. So it's great to see their growth in that area as well.
Speaking with Mariana Brambilla earlier today, head to our site and hear the interview and see it. She discussed her journey during the summer, going back to Brazil and having to do some quarantining there, and then going to Mexico and having to go through that process again in the United States. How was that difficult? You're trying to find this consistency. Was that just difficult, not having players like her and Julia and just other international players going through everything that we're all going through, and it being very difficult for them to even be in this? Like, when was the last time the first time you all were together in one building? It just discuss the summer and how it was tough to find that consistency.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it was hard from all lands, right? When it all started to happen, and we were all going to spring break, and the talks about the virus and all these things came out, and school was going to shut down, and our biggest concern was them and their families, because obviously I wasn't an international student, and I can't imagine going through what they had to go through, and even their families. I mean, I'm now a mother, so I put myself in a position where, well, what if it was my daughter that was in a whole, continent away from me, and they, all these things are going on, and you don't know too much about it, and you don't know how safe it is, how dangerous it is, what really happens. And so there was a lot of confusion there. And our number one priority at that time was to make sure that we spoke to their families and that we got them home to their families, and so that they could feel safe and comfortable. And then from there, we just kind of took day by day, as the NCAA was giving us updates on the things that we could do, and that was progressing, and just the knowledge about COVID and all these things were starting to come out more and more. And probably back around May, we started to have conversations with our families again, saying, hey, we might be returning to campus, starting workouts again. What does that look like for you guys? But always in an approach where the biggest thing was that they had to be comfortable with whatever it was that they were doing, and really just understanding all of it, and knowing that, our most important thing was their well-being and their health. And so we started to just kind of navigate through all that. And Mari and Julia started to research a little bit about what's the route that I'm going to have to go through here to try to get back to the U.S. They felt, them and their families felt comfortable enough that it was time to, kind of start the journey back. And okay, so what are our limitations? What can Georgia Tech help with? What we can't, and so we were all just kind of navigating all the boundaries that we had to navigate through to make sure that every decision that they made was well educated, and it was something that their families felt comfortable with, they felt comfortable with, and then they just made their journey over here, where they had to quarantine in Cancun, and then they had to come over here and quarantine. And then after that, it was, they hit the ground running. They couldn't wait to get back on the court with their teammates and playing. So it's been great to have them back.
Now everyone's back on the court, and you face Wake Forest this upcoming week, 2 matches in Winston-Salem. They're coming off 2 losses as well, so they've played a few less matches than you have. They lost 2 games to Miami. But overall impressions of Wake Forest and what you've seen from them and what you have to do to execute a victory.
Yeah, I think they competed really well against Miami. I felt like those sets were very close, and we understand the level of team that Miami is as well. So we we expect a tough match for us on the road. They also had the bye week, I think, this past week. And so I know that for our team, when we had that week, was a week where there was a lot of growth in our gym, and had played matches and being able to be like, okay, these are some of the things that we really need to get better at. And having that week to work on. I know that Wake and their coaching staff are taking advantage of that. So they're going to be an even better team this time around, which would be, just a big challenge for us. It's they play in a big basketball arena. And so we played in two smaller gyms. I mean, we played in Miami and we played here. So that spatial awareness is going to be something to see how we kind of respond to that. And, just a good team that keeps getting better. I think that the more, it's been so long since we all played, that the more we play, the better you get. And it keeps getting better and better. So Wake is going to be much better than they were 2 weeks ago when they played against Miami. And, I'm sure they're going to be ready for us.
All right.